Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're looking into something incredibly serious, the recent crash of Air India flight AI-171. This happened just days ago, June 12, 2025, near Ahmedabad. A truly devastating event, at least 270 lives lost. So our aim here is to really unpack the early findings, using the investigation details you sent over, trying to get past the noise and focus on what seems most crucial right now.
Exactly. And what we'll do is sort of show how investigators take all these different pieces, these clues, and try to build a coherent picture. We'll be focusing specifically on what your sources suggest are the leading potential causes for the crash of this Boeing 7878 Dreamliner.
Okay, let's jump right in then. The first big potential cause that stands out from the materials, and it's pretty stark, is the idea of dual engine failure. And the evidence for this seems quite specific, right? Mention of the ram air turbine, the RAT, being deployed, which, as I understand it, that little turbine only pops out if you lose power from both engines. That's the only time.
That's absolutely right. It's a major indicator. For investigators, seeing evidence of RAT deployment, whether it's from like video footage or even survivor accounts confirming it, that's huge. It immediately tells them they're dealing with a total loss of primary engine thrust. It confirms a catastrophic power failure event very early on.
Right, so it shifts the question fast. Not if the engines failed, maybe, but why? And that leads to the next area your sources highlight, problems with the electrical and power systems. There's that chilling account from a survivor mentioning flickering lights inside the cabin, and then a sudden, very alarming drop in altitude.
Yeah, and that's deeply concerning because it points towards the its electronic nervous system failing. An electrical issue isn't just, cabin lights going dim.
Hmm.
It can potentially affect everything.
Everything, like flight controls.
Absolutely. Modern planes like the 787 rely heavily on fly-by-wire systems. Electrical failures could potentially compromise those controls. The navigation displays, communication systems can create a cascade, essentially, where one failure leads to others, making it incredibly difficult for the pilots to manage the aircraft.
Which brings us straight to the pilots and what they were experiencing. The cockpit voice recorder, the CVR. Analyzing that data must be just painstaking but absolutely critical work.
Oh, incredibly critical. The CVR gives investigators that direct window into the cockpit during those final crucial moments. They're listening for, everything. What did the pilots say? Were there specific alarms sounding? Did they follow emergency procedures? Or were they maybe dealing with something completely unexpected, something baffling?
Trying to piece together their actions, their understanding of what was happening.
Exactly. The timing of events, the sounds in the background, the stress in their voices, it all provides invaluable context. It helps build that second-by-second timeline.
Okay, so we have potential engine failure, possible electrical system cascades, the CVR analysis. What else are investigators looking at broadly? Your sources mention concerns about aircraft maintenance and inspection.
Yes, and that's indicated by the DGCA, India's Directorate General of Civil Aviation, ordering checks on other Boeing 787s in the fleet. That's not a step taken lightly. It suggests they're considering if this could be more than just a one-off incident.
So potentially looking for wider issues, maybe related to how the planes are maintained or even a fault from the manufacturing stage.
Precisely. It opens up the possibility of systemic issues, whether it's maintenance protocols not being followed rigorously enough, or maybe even a batch issue or a design aspect that needs reevaluation across the fleet. It reflects that constant vigilance required, where one incident triggers a much broader safety review.
And we should definitely emphasize this investigation is very much ongoing. It's complex work. The AAIB, the Aircraft Accident Investigation Bureau, is leading it, but they've got support from Boeing, from international experts. It takes time.
Absolutely. A final report, a really comprehensive one that's likely still months away. These things require meticulous, careful analysis, no rushing to conclusions.
Okay, so just to recap the main threads from the sources we've discussed in this deep dive, the very serious possibility of dual engine failure may be linked to electrical system problems. Then there's the crucial CVR data offering insight into the cockpit, and these wider questions about aircraft maintenance and inspection standards.
hmm It really paints a picture of how interconnected everything is on an aircraft. The technology, the human element in the cockpit, and the procedures on the ground like maintenance. Understanding failures means looking at all those links. It's never usually just one single thing.
Definitely complex. And maybe a final thought for you, our listener, to take away from this. Think about how one single event, however tragic, can force an immediate system-wide look at safety across potentially hundreds of aircraft. What does this deep dive really tell us about the kind of constant watchfulness that's needed in modern aviation? Something to ponder.